All right, hi everybody. These are always, it's so interesting to not get to have the kind of in-person connection that we usually have, but I can feel everyone's presence and everyone giving the gift of their attention. And that's still all going into this weird vortex energy pool that we create when we testify and witness poetically for each other. So thank you so much for being part of that loop. I'll try to give you everything I've got through the screen. So to play off where we ended with our last amazing poet, I'm going to start with a piece of writing about writing, and maybe it'll be a little bit more of a, maybe we'll do a, as Joan said, I get to work with students a lot, teaching spoken word, and we talk a lot about why write poetry. We got to get that out of the way. So this is a poem about why I write. It begins with a quote from Allen Ginsberg, which is one of my favorite. I write to shatter complacency. I write to shatter denial. I write to embrace paradox. I write to see the world whole. Allen Ginsberg. I write because there's a tiny world inside my every cell and each has a story to tell. I write to be honest with myself. I write like my own secretary, taking dictation, recording and supporting ongoing conversations. I write so that I might wander through decrepit castles, marveling at the flowering vines, spontaneous lines that grow to crumble stone walls. I write so that all the dams might be broken, secret fear spoken in the company of strangers. I write to honor the anger. I write seething with love and drenched in fury. I write in a leisurely hurry, slow and deliberately rushing like a river. I write to deliver floating bottled messages to my compass keeper lost at sea. I write to quell the endless swells of anxiety. I write to know the squeamish ache of embarrassment. I write to leach latent meaning from rhyme. I write to leach latent meaning from rhyme. I write to defy time, to open the immortal portal and lick the lap of infinity. I write to taste divinity in art. I write to fight the fear of heart revealing. Ink drip my feelings into your ears that you might hear the sound of my pounding. And I write because you write. You, the great poets revered and famed, you, the unnamed, the never remembered, you who play with what you say, metaphorically making way for new understandings, you who came before me, you who ignore me or simply have no idea I'm listening. I write because you write, and your words are like a blood transfusion, slowly winding their way inside me until muddled and mingled into a single pulse. Your voice and my body beat out their rhythms together, sometimes slow and melodic, other times fast and frantic like a winged animal cage, sometimes enraged and insistent, at other times shy, broken, halting, hesitant. And perhaps it is at these times that I love you most purely. When your hands betray you as you stand on stage, paper shaking, that every tremble of your modern parchment ripples through me, and I am truly in awe of the courage you've shown. I write so that you might know you're not alone, and I might know the same. Yeah. One of many poems of writing about writing, which some people claim is overly masturbatory and shouldn't be done, but hey, feels good, fulfills the need, no one gets pregnant. This is an adult show, right? Okay, so I recently put together a book of poems that is not done yet, as Joan mentioned in the bio. It's called Covidian Times, and it's close to being done. And it basically is all poems drawn from when we first started sheltering in place. So the subtitle is In Place Sheltered. And it's just, you know, a time period that I wanted to capture. We're certainly not out of this experience yet. And I normally wouldn't pull together a whole collection of sort of daily writings. I wouldn't say these are all good enough to be part of a collection, but I think there's something in me that knows that, at least for myself and for whatever it does for other people, that I really wanted to document those first feelings, because it's already become normal enough that some of the initial shock and what it was like to go in has shifted. So the first poem I'll share from that collection was from when the shelter in place orders first came in and everyone was going out and buying everything, and we had the great toilet paper shortage, and we really didn't know what was coming. We just knew sort of what was being asked of us, and we didn't know how severe it was going to be. So this poem is called Cashier Angel. Her smile is an open door. When she asks, "How are you?" I hear every tone of invitation. Her voice is a wind chime, a symphony of simple kindness, archetypes tinkling in unison. She is therapist, mother, friend. She is the checkout clerk at Fred Meyer's on a Sunday evening beneath a pandemic sky. I can tell that she's seen some things. Friday was the worst of it, she says, but her demeanor is not frazzled or harried. She radiates care, not corporate policy. She is hefting compassion into every bag, wearing a black brace on her wrist. I shop here rather often, and I've never seen her before. I wonder if she's been brought in like a specialist, an undercover angel. I do not lament out loud the lack of toilet paper, of beans, of rice, the way the barren shelves make me feel, but simply mention, by way of small talk, that the store is much more empty of both people and products than I'd imagined. Her answer is sympathy, apology, hope. More is coming soon. Hopefully it'll stay on the shelves. She is reassurance. I hope they're constantly paying her overtime for working 2 jobs at once. Cheers. So, I gotta tell you what, I love performing, and being in front of people is no problem. Being in the silence of this strange computer makes me feel about as awkward as I possibly can. It's so strange not to get to hear everyone. And you know, so the next poem I'm gonna go into speaking about kind of technology, and there's some of that theme throughout this because we're all having to experience these new ways of being. And actually, forgive me for 1 second, but I've got this weird view going on, and all I can see mostly is Joan. And Joan, you are fabulous, but oh, now I can see everyone else again. So when we first started sheltering in place, one of the things that I appreciated the most was some of the really high-level artists that started just putting on weird concerts for free. I don't know if anyone's familiar with Questlove. He's the drummer in the Roots. He's an amazing DJ, and he was just staying up all night going live on all these different sources and just trying to kind of create this hub where people could come and hear music. And then Erykah Badu did this concert from her bedroom. I'm going to mention that, so that's why I'm the setup. And for a minute there, it was like, in all the strangeness and the sadness and the scariness, there was also this thing where I was plugging into the internet and being like, I am seeing literally into famous people's bedrooms. And there was this camaraderie of what performers and artists try to do for people that was really exciting. So this piece is called Quarantination. At the isolation station, a dreary Monday tastes different than a hot, fun Sunday. Return to a wet world without rays, I stay inside until sunset nears, when the soft light suddenly beckons hard, loud as intuition. I step out, discover why. Joy is streaking the sky, and it's impossible not to smile. The double rainbow only lasts a few minutes. What perfect timing, what miracle. I venture on to confirm the river has not been canceled. It remains my constant, changing, changing, changing. Art is changing, connection is changing. The world has never seemed so far and so close. Beyonce, Michelle Obama, and I are all doing the same thing tonight. What miracle. We are all in Erykah Badu's bedroom. What miracle. I paid $1 for these never before hours of intimacy. What miracle. Sitting where she sleeps, Erykah says, y'all don't know how long I've wanted to perform for you from my bed. It's impossible not to smile at the truth of this, to appreciate what is only possible under these strange new conditions. I live out on the McKinsey, thank you. So I lot of river themes going to my work. And I just so happen at this time to be listening to the Deschutes behind me. I'm not at home. And so in that same vein, I would not normally have been able to both go away and do a show. So here we are. And on that note, here's another little quickie. This is called Living the Stream. On some meta shit, my friend is live streaming on his phone. The phone camera is pointing at the laptop. The laptop is playing a show that was recorded on phone cameras. I'm watching it on my laptop. We're talking in the present over ourselves, talking in the past. I have no idea what time it is, but I know what time it is. Welcome to the future. We are living the stream. I've been watching a lot of artists do a lot of live streaming and combinations thereof. And yeah, it's what a time to innovate. So, all right. Involuntary grace. Dance, little caterpillar, dance. What other chance will you have? Wiggle like the wind in your temporary skin. It could begin shortly. The end of you, the beginning of you. We're going through something here. Crawling near an edge. Shimmy your way over the gravel, rock out while you still can. There's a plan coming soon to cocoon you in liberation, to immobilize you with evolution, shelter you in place. Before you face that darkness, dance. Dance as though you wish you had wings. Took a lot of walks during that shelter in place. Met some caterpillars, other animals along the way. And each day I wrote a new poem. These all occurred during the month of April. I've been trying to not tell you the whole story at once, but let the poems sort of unravel themselves. I walk along a canal, so there's kind of a constant flow of water happening as well. And living alone and very single at that time. And so this piece is called Thirst. Every time I can, I submerge my hands in flowing water just to feel something alive against my flesh. Like being sleep deprived, this prolonged lack of any and all touch raises emotion to the surface, leaves it there floating. I'm trying to explain to the animal of me why it is healthy to remain perpetually parched for an indefinite amount of time. It's a hard story to sell to my cells. They have their own intelligence, an understanding of homeostasis, a seeking of solutions to this obvious imbalance. Every time I am near the river or the canal, my fingers try to drink from it. I don't feel lonely. I feel a visceral sorrow, a gut level yearning for basic contact that cannot be resolved with another lovely phone call, just like gulping sweet air cannot quench a thirst. It's like this strange applause silence. So yes, this group more than most might participate in. April is National Poetry Month, and a lot of people sort of honor that month by doing something called the 30-30 or the 30 and 30, just to write and in some way publish, put it out somewhere publicly, a new poem every day. And so that's where most of these came from. But after the practice was over, it continued for me because it was certainly one of the most helpful practices I came up with. And so this one was sort of like past that month, and as things kept dragging out, and I don't know if anyone else continues to feel this way, but I kind of feel like my cortisol has reached a new consistent level. Emotions might always be at the brim. This piece is called The Spill. I left the tap water running in the bathroom sink. A strange little 2 a.m. sleepy face accident brought to my attention when I started to hear the soft, unexplained rain hitting the floor through my bedroom door. Apparently, the sink is half clogged. I found it waterlogged, unable to drain fast enough to avoid spilling over. Someday my tears are so near the surface they can be left on absent-mindedly in mundane moments of melancholy. Some days I am too perpetually misty-eyed for the makeup I'm not wearing anyways. And some days I'm a raging cliche in a storm, shaking my fist at the sky, childlike asking the deities why, drenched in the world's ugliness and injustices, soaking in my own woes and wounds, even as the beauty of a landscape overtakes me. Some days it all spills over and turning off the tap isn't an option. So I try to unclog the drain. Words, walks, woods, give the falling pain a better way to move through my system. And some days it works. Some days the sink floods. Yeah, good lot of those days. All right, to round out our waterways themes here. Going the distance. We're still in it, man. Going the distance. If I should drink up the whole river in one gulp, I would hold it in my mouth, walk on foot all the way to the ocean, and spit it back out like laughter, welcoming those waves of relief after a long, strange journey of enduring protection. River poems. Nice. Okay. So, yeah, I'm just gonna keep poeming. I have a real penchant for banter, but try to cut myself off. This piece is called Tolerance. We say our tolerance for a substance is low when we are easily affected by it, usually after a prolonged lack of exposure. We say our tolerance for other people is high when we exemplify compassion and respect for all, including those who we don't agree with. My tolerance for people feels lower every day, but in the substance way, this abstinence from extroversion changing my chemistry set. Every time I briefly say hello to someone I pass on the walking path, I am struck by how alive and stunning they are. I am looking at every face through a Zoom screen like a coconut ice cream sundae after a month of no sugar, the healthy sweetness of your presence melting me. My armor, my defenses, once used to hold distance, unneeded, growing old, out of use. Everyone looks like proof that the universe is kind. You, oh, your existence hits my dry mind like some wild nectar of the vine pressed between the toes of solitary silent maidens, and I am smitten with all the humans, lushly smitten. But unlike beer goggles, I think these Corona goggles can be trusted. Come what may, I hope my tolerance, my walls stay lowered. Miss ya. All right. So yeah, as Joan said, really, it's a cute idea that I have a great newsletter. It's all coming soon. What I do have on the front page of my website, if you're interested in getting a little love note in your inbox when this book is ready, and it's very close to being ready, I'll put my email, or excuse me, my website in the chat. Pop over there. It'll pop right up and say, would you like a love note? You can throw your email in there, and I promise you I will not email you with annoying frequency because I'm not capable of it. The last piece I want to share is it's from a series called The Nature of Gratitude, which has been 5 years running now, started by a couple of writers and incorporating musicians, et cetera. Each year has had a different theme, and I've written to that theme. So this was Nature of Gratitude year 3. The theme was respite, and it's very interesting to go back to these poems, as I'm sure it is for many of you. Everything post-pandemic or in pandemic now has a different flavor and a different slant. And so revisiting some of these works and finding what still holds true and what has changed has been really interesting. And I certainly want to end on a note of gratitude. Thank you very much for having me. Spoken word poetry is often described as the marriage of poetry and theater. So I feel very excited to be sandwiched in between a poet and a playwright. That feels just perfect and super sweet. So thank you very much for having me, y'all. This piece is called Respite. I know how many years I've been alive, but I'm not sure how old I am. I know I've reached the place where a day at home to do chores feels more like a treat than a responsibility. It's like thinking socks are a lame present when you're a kid, but now I don't know about y'all, but if someone gives me good socks, I am like triple decker thrilled. That's soft, simple success. In a world of impractical, unnecessary crap, socks are an island of sanity. Like doing the dishes is a familiar song, and sweeping is the most satisfying dance, and laundry is, nah, fuck that, I still hate laundry. But it's deeply comforting compared to all the noise news, coffee shoes, like alarm snooze, coffee shoes, email. See, I have this device. It's this incredible, astonishing device that sends signals up into space and bounces the answers to everything right back into my face at the touch of a touch. I mean, we're beyond buttons now. Sometimes I want to sew a button back on, rake leaves from the lawn, anything to relax into a different rhythm than text next, text next, text next. Our phones don't give busy signals like they used to. They are busy signals. They're tiny galaxies, wordplay. They're tiny galaxies beckoning us towards black holes of busyness at every opportunity. I'm always being notified. I think it's too much like how the egoic mind already works, called the iPhone for a reason. The annoying roommate in my head is always trying to notify me about something too. Now the phone and the roommate are in cahoots, demanding that selfies be taken, that all beautiful babies and sunsets and good meals be documented. Document, share, be increasingly self-aware, document, share, document, notified. Someone likes your documentation. And we all just want to be like, doesn't it feel good to be notified that you're liked? Does it secretly feel good to be so busy? Do we confess it to each other like exposing a badge of honor, like the perfect excuse for everything? I've just been so busy lately. Does it make us feel important to always have something important to do, always be one click away from computerized connection, to live with distraction flowing like free booze? Noise news, alarm snooze, coffee shoes, email. And email is amazing. I imagine trying to handwrite an envelope and stamp every written communication, and I marvel at the magic of being able to send a letter through particles, through cables, bounce it off into the ethers and into intended eyeballs within seconds. Email is a full-blown miracle. I think maybe there's too many miracles coming at us all at once. The way words without ample space between them become unintelligible, lose meaning. For my birthday this year, my mom gave me a perfect, ripe pomegranate, and I let it go bad in the fridge. I kept saving it for a special time when I would have time to savor it. You know, it's not a hurried breakfast food. I kept thinking that it was going to take too much time to eat it, sit with all that separating of kernels. So I stuffed apples in my mouth instead, cut them quickly, ate them quickly. I'm not sure how old I am, but I know it's going by quickly. I know I've reached the place where I am scared that my life may become too much like that fallen pomegranate. A loss of juice and wonder because I am under too much supposed pressure to cross things off the to-do list. And this fear becomes my enjoyment of the doing that stays unlisted. Today, as I put wood in the wheelbarrow to feed the fire, I notice how bravely the yellow maple leaves are glowing like day stars against the gray sky. It is stunning. I do not take a picture. I feed the fire. I chop purple carrots and sweet onions for a soup. And the knife makes a rhythm like that, not, that, not. And in the moments between movement, the silence between sounds, the mundanity between the modern miracles, there is respite. I relish that ripe respite, one crimson kernel at a time. I notify no one. I taste gratitude. Thank you all so very much for having me. I will put my little website in the chat. And yeah, that's good. I'm here. I'm like 2 minutes early, John. This is amazing for me.